Sesilia, it's so nice to see you.
Oh, nice to see you too, Nabeeha. And it has been amazing since the last time you come and visit us. It was really amazing moment for ourselves, and we miss you though. We really miss you and your whole team. It was a charming moment. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we miss you. We miss your team, and also the partnership and the friendship that we have between PAI and Young and Alive are so important, especially in this time when civic space is shrinking, and in a time when there's so many attacks and actions to derail and dismantle rights and fundamental health for women and young people. So there are a lot of challenges, but I think what gives me hope and fuels us forward is knowing that we're together, and we'll keep going. So I wanted to ask a few questions about Young and Alive and the partnership that we have. And the first one is, if you will talk about Young and Alive, your mission, the work that you are doing, what would you share with people who don't know you?
I could say that Young and Alive Initiative is a youth-led feminist organization that's founded in 2015 and registered on 2017 in Tanzania. And our work has always been making sure that young people and women can exercise their right of sexual and reproductive health and rights. And we have been doing that by mobilizing young people, empowering them to unlock and be able to advocate for sexual and reproductive health and rights. And yeah, that's all about our work. And we started as founders and professional people of clinicians, and here we are, and we are passionate, still passionate, and we have young people who are working with us who are really passionate. And despite the challenges that are in the community, we are passionate and we keep moving regardless.
So the keep moving piece is so important, and having the courage and the strength and the fortitude. We know so many organizations, including Young and Alive, have been questioned, harassed, attacked around the work that you're doing to make sure that young people have access to information, sexual and reproductive health care, what is really fundamental for them to achieve and advance. And, one of the things that I'm most proud of, and that I feel so inspired by, is the network that PAI has the great fortune to steward and be a part of. And hopefully we're contributing in some way for that movement to keep moving forward, as you said, in ways that are united and courageous and impactful. We have 1,800 community-based organizations in our extended ecosystem, all that are fighting for rights, fighting for healthcare services, fighting for what is essential for young people, women, and at-risk communities. And I'd love to hear from your perspective, why is being part of PAI's ecosystem and part of our broader community, why does it matter? How does it help Young and Alive? And what does it mean for the movement?
As I said, we are moving regardless. And if you are alone in around when it comes to sexual reproductive health and rights, talking about service, talking about information, if you are alone, I don't think if you will be able to move. And the passion always grow when you are bigger in number, and being around 108, it what makes it special, knowing that we are not alone. We are there. We keep learning. We exchange our learning. We know that within the movement, we are standing together for one voices, but also within the movement, you keep learning from how others are achieving better. What can you learn from another country? What is the gaining that you're getting from another place? And you keep making yourself better as a community organization. So at the end of the day, you feel like what I'm doing is the right thing, and my passion is not only draining because there are other people who are doing the same thing around the world. So Young and Alive being a part of this movement, it has been the moment for us to learn, and the work that we know that we are doing with complements around this 1,100. And also we know that within this movement, there is a lot of things that we get, a lot of learning and sharings that we have been getting since joining this. It has been a great moment for us because we feel like we are within, and this feelings is not only just the feelings, but it's the reality that is not only Young and Alive doing this, the only thing that we are doing. There is many other organizations around the movement that is doing the same thing. So it's not the only voice of Young and Alive, it's the voice of the movement. So you could imagine the voice that is coming out of the movement around the PAI has been working on.
Let's talk a little bit about young people. Of course, you and your amazing team members at Young and Alive started Young and Alive as youth professionals, as advocates, as champions, and your focus is very much to support the sexual and reproductive health and rights of young people. Why is it important for youth to work with other young people? Why is it important for youth to elevate their voice and not only drive change, but also to sustain and protect change?
As we all know that when we talk about young people, we are not homogeneous. We come with different needs, and our needs also make us to have a lot of multi-sectoral plannings. So bringing young people into the center of the designing, planning, implementation, and even evaluation, it's very, very important. And this has been the reason that if you are working together, our voices start during the designing. And I think that's something that PAI has doing a lot, making sure that we are designing together as young people, making sure that we are co-creating together our ideas, looking at the challenges that it has been in the community. As we know that for many years, there have been solutions that have been created. Sometimes they don't work for young people if they are not part of it, because you are bringing something to them to implement, which they are not part of it. But if young people become the center of co-creating it, designing it, later implementing it and evaluate it, they get the lessons, but also they share the lessons, and they make sure that if it's something that is belonging to them, they own it. Even if it's policies, they own it. If it's services, they own that services. They know that this is services that belongs to us. We want these services to look in this way. These are the information that belongs to us. We want this information to go through this, with this language. So I think it's so important to include young people in all stages, from the designing to the evaluation, but also when young people work together beyond borders, it's more important because we share the learnings, not only within the countries, but beyond borders, from one country to another, from one region to another in the global way.
You know, Sesilia, what stands out also from what you're saying, I'm just going back to when we were together in May, and we went and visited with some members of a mother's group, and met Halima and a few other of her friends. And you know, it's interesting because on the one hand, we talk very much about the important role of ensuring that programs and policies and services and laws meet the needs of young people who will benefit when you have an enabling environment that respects their rights and ensures that the healthcare they receive meets their needs. But also in the visit with Halima and the group, it's also the role of young people, and also maybe they don't fit within the young age bracket anymore, but they're advocates now to ensure that maybe some of the injustices that they were facing are not things that others in their community will face. And what stood out to me from that visit with Halima and the group was, you know, she talked about how no one told her about menstruation, that no one told her about how one becomes pregnant and how to prevent a pregnancy. No one told her that what she was experiencing as a very young person was actually gender-based violence. And then you end up in a situation, and not just Tanzania, right? This is happening around the world. It's happening in rural communities here in the United States, where they're discriminated against. Young people don't have the information or the power to advocate and make decisions for themselves. And now Halima is out there ensuring that what she experienced is no more. And so for me, you know, that is so inspiring, and it's work that you all are enabling, but it's also the experience of so many young people, but it does give me hope. And you know, I guess I'd love to hear also from your perspective, what do you feel are the bright spots of the work of Young and Alive? What has given you hope and given you excitement that even in the face of great injustice and threat, we're making progress?
Currently, what is giving us hope is the number of young people who are joining us in the movement. Everybody is feeling that they are in Young and Alive movement, and being with us is like we are unlocking their powers. We know that they already have powers, so what we are doing is unlocking their powers. Young mothers like Amina, they were just waiting for someone to unlock their powers, to know that they can do something in their community. They can do something for their community, for their families, for their kids as well. They are young mothers already. Sometimes they wish to go back to school, but they look for vocation schools. It's because we give powers to say that this is what they want. We didn't push them to say, you are supposed to go to school. We asked them, what exactly do you want to do at the moment that you have a child? So what we have been trying to do is unlocking power of young people so that they can exercise their rights. They can know that this is my right. And in the way that we are making sure that we unlock their powers is giving them the information. If they have the information, they have the power. So they will know that these services belong to me. I am required to have this service, and I'm going to ask for this service. I'm going to ask for this right because this right belongs to me. So in the world, this has been like the big challenge. Most of the young people, they don't have area to get enough information. And sometimes if they get the information, sometimes it's not the right information. So what we have been trying to do in our best way is making sure that young people have the right information in their fingertips, so that they know what to do with that information. And I think that is our biggest fault that we have, because every day when we work, we say, if young people have information, I know they're going to change the community. I know they're going to make the right decision regarding their health, regarding also to their community.
So we know that young people are change makers. There's no doubt about it. The other group of change makers are, of course, those who are supporting our movement. You know, at PAI, we count our donors. We count those who stand with us when we're fighting for good policies abroad, where we're fighting for robust international funding to support young people and women and other communities for sexual and reproductive health care. Those who are have always been part of this movement, and also those who are joining our movement now or want to. It's never too late to do that. What is your message to our donors, our collective donors, our champions here in the US? What would you say to them about the important work of supporting our partnership and supporting the movement so that Young and Alive can keep doing its work and we can keep fighting for better outcomes for people around the world?
I would say that the support that we have received from PAI was the best support, because first of all, it was a flexible funding, and which is very rare to find it. So when donors support PAI to support the partners like Young and Alive Initiative, to us it's very, very important, because having a flexible funding, it allows you to work even in the hardship environment. You know even how to cope with the environment, because sometimes you may plan for this and the environment may change. So it has been so helpful to us. But also the trust that we receive from PAI, it has been a greater trust, especially to us as a youth-led organization, being trusted by the partner, big partner like PAI. So donors like who are in the US, they should make sure that they keep funding PAI to be able to continue funding the small organizations and other organizations who are working into the ground, because this funding has been so helpful, and the change that has coming from the funding, it's visible. The young people, the information that are in the community, the service which have been provided, the change makers who are in the ground, they're visible. It's something that you can come and see. It's something that you can see with your eyes. The advocacy that have been achieved in the community is something that you can see. So I think that they should continue funding, because their funding is going directly to where it's needed. And these young people, as I say, they are being needed to start from the designing. They have to be from the designing to the evaluation, and they really need support. And we, as Young and Alive Initiative, we need support in the flexible way as we received it previously. And we are wishing that if there will be many other donors who can keep supporting PAI to support more partners, because the challenges are still there. And to make out or to make sure that the challenges are removed from the community is to make sure that the funding is there continuously.
So I also want to ask about some of the challenges that are not being lifted up or elevated sufficiently. And, you know, I often get asked as being at the helm of PAI, what keeps me up at night? As a leader, as a member of this movement, as an advocate for our shared cause and mission. And you are at the helm of Young and Alive. I love the fact that both of our organizations are being led by women. So that is very exciting for me, and hats off to you as well for your leadership. I'm curious, what is keeping you up at night, Sesilia, about our movement? What else do we need to elevate? What issues need visibility?
Actually, I always tell this story, and as today is International Girls Child Day, I usually say that I was a clinician. I'm still a clinician. And the first time when I say that I'm going to go to the community, it's when I come across young people in the hospital, some coming with unsafe abortion, some coming with teenage pregnancies in the maternity ward. And I was like, I have something to do in the community. So I have passion that is within me. I think that I can do something in the community. And what keeps up all night say that is when I still hear the number when the report of Tanzania Health Demographic Survey released. And I was like, oh, we are in 22% teenage pregnancies in Tanzania. That's give me think like, where are we still right now? Why are we still here? And why is still 22%? So wherever there is challenges that are facing young people, when I hear about there is high prevalence of HIV to young people in the age of 10 to 24, it was hitting me hard. And I was like, we really need to do a lot. And when I ask myself, I really need to do a lot, I'm looking at the service and information. And that's the area I'm always working around, saying, what are we doing wrong when it comes to the service to young people? What are we doing wrong when it comes to the information? So this makes me like work so hardly to create more innovation with young people, saying, what are we going to do beyond making sure that information is going to young people into their fingertips, making sure that everybody is informed, making sure that they get the services, I know that we cannot do it all, but at least we have to do it into our best way. So wherever there is any challenges that are facing young people regarding to their health, regarding to their sexual reproductive health, that makes me not sleep well. I wake up and say, I have to do something as a leader. I have to do something as a woman. So I always work because I know I have passion to make sure that I do something for my community, and it's in me, loving doing something for my community.
And you're making a difference, Sesilia. I know we have a big journey ahead of us, but you're making a difference. Is there anything else that you want to add, Sesilia, that maybe I didn't ask or you want to lift up?
Actually, I could say that yeah, there is a lot of initiative that we are trying to do to the communities. And sometimes maybe they need scaling up, maybe they need to be land to be shared into the high level. Maybe they are not well scaled up into all those toolkits and wherever, but in my experience working with young people, there is innovation every day. They come with good ideas every day because the challenges in the society, they also have solution. So we are from the community. We know these challenges and we know how to solve it. And the organization, you as a PAI coming into us and working with us in the community is the greater hope that we are doing something into the community. So my hope is to see donors putting a lot of funding into you so that not only Young and Alive can work into the community, but many Young and Alive. I usually tell people that Young and Alive will not remain young forever, but we have been creating leaders. Every day we are creating leaders, and these leaders are there. They want to do something in the community. They're changing the community. So we are hoping that with all these initiatives, there is a lot of solutions that are coming out right now. I hope that through the fundings that will come from the donors who are going to keep working with PAI, there is a lot of solutions that are going to be featured and making sure that we are not going to have the 22% again of teenage pregnancies or high prevalence of HIV to young people or STIs being high prevalence. And we are going to have the young people with who are healthy mentally and physically, and yeah, they can contribute to their community. So that's my bigger hope. Every time when I'm like, I work for Young and Alive, I work for community, but I want to see the better community with a better healthy